Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and it's a sunny evening in Brussels. Happy to have brought that from Southern Europe. I'm honored to accept the honorary title for freedom of expression on behalf of all of us at IRPI, Center for Investigative Reporting of Italy, along with our colleague, exiled colleague Samuel Baker Biensi. It's an honor to be here today alongside him. Thank you, Rector Anemi Schaus of the Université Libre de Bruxelles, and Rector Jan Dankert of the Vrije Universiteit Brussels. And to all the partners of this award, special thanks goes to Ike Piccone and his team, and Alicia Geshinska, with whom we had a brilliant fireside chat. Also, a heartfelt thank you to Ides de Bruyne of Journalism Fund Europe for believing in us for over a decade and for nominating IRPI. This recognition honors us deeply. It also gives us energy and hope, the kind of push we need to keep going in difficult times. Because today, the press is under fire, literally. In Gaza, where over 200 journalists have been killed by the Israeli army. In Ukraine, in Mexico, where journalists are murdered despite no official war. Across Latin America, Africa, Asia, the Balkans, and Europe. In the past decade alone, 4 journalists have been murdered on European soil. In the order: Daphne Caruana Galizia, Jan Kuciak, Georgios Karaivatz, and Peter de Vries. We are humbled to receive this honorary title in the shadow of their sacrifice. And we accept it with a sense of urgency and responsibility, because journalism is essential to democracy, and its freedom, though, can no longer be taken for granted. IRPI began in 2012 reporting on Italian organized crime, the Cosa Nostra, the Camorra, and the less easy to pronounce, 'Ndrangheta. But the threat of those stories quickly led us to white-collar enablers, corrupt politicians, brokers, and businessmen in Italy and abroad. We uncovered alliances between Italian mafias and foreign ones, from Amsterdam to Rotterdam, where the 'Ndrangheta outsourced port control to Albanians and the so-called Mokro Mafia, to Athens and Malta, where traffickers and ship owners built a modern piracy network. These are the very same places where Daphne Caruana Galizia, Jan Kuciak, Georgios Karaivatz, and Peter de Vries carried out their work and were killed for it. In Europe, we thought the worst violence had ended with the murders of judges Falcone and Borsellino in the 90s, and before them, journalists like Peppino Impastato. Yet, when Daphne Caruana Galizia was assassinated in 2017, it marked the beginning of a new, dark era for civil society. At that moment, we knew the only possible answer was to continue her work. We joined the Daphne Project, an international consortium that carried her torch. 1 year later, Jan Kuciak was murdered. At a time coordinated by OSIS IRPI, we had worked with Jan and Pavla Holkova of Investigative in Czech Republic for over a year on 2 major investigations. One was on a Calabrian mafia family based here in Belgium. And we were working also with a Belgian colleague on that story. And the story looked at how this family was laundering cocaine money in Slovakia. But also we were working on a more dangerous story that was tying the 'Ndrangheta directly to the then Prime Minister Robert Fico, who's back. We were about to publish the latter when Jan was shot. We learned about it while in Sicily I was there with my colleagues, Lorenzo Bagnoli and Giulio Rubino, co-founders of IRPI, and we were reporting for the Daphne project. How ironic. We had just sat down with veteran journalist Franco Castaldo, who was more than a mentor to us. I like to mention Franco because he's a forgotten victim of unfree press in Europe. After exposing corruption, he was banned from entering his newsroom or writing articles for about 2 decades. With the salary that he continued to receive, though, he founded a free media outlet in Agrigento called Grandangolo. I mention Franco because he reported on dozens of mafia killings, and he ended up living under police protection for years at the outskirts of Europe in Sicily. And when we were placed under protection too, he helped us cope with it. And that's a moment where we fully understood it. Press freedom comes at a cost, sometimes even your own freedom. But we kept doing the only thing we're capable of in the end, investigating and reporting. We did it for Jan, we did it for Daphne, but actually, above all, we did it for European citizens, who we believe deserve to know the truth. And at times, we did it also when we were not allowed to. An example, in 2022, we took part in the Swiss Secrets investigation, exposing how a Swiss bank helped hide public wealth and illicit funds. Since then, we and all the other reporters of the consortium are avoiding entering Switzerland because we risk being arrested for having violated its bank secrecy law. Now, just a few weeks ago, we published a new investigation with Paper Trail Media, IRPI, and Le Monde on another Swiss bank, a different one, and we were sued under Article 47 of the Swiss Banking Act, which is one of the most draconian laws on banking secrecy of a country. It criminalizes the disclosure of banking information for everyone, even a whistleblower, with penalties up to 5 years in prison. Now, a couple of days after the suit was filed, the complaint was withdrawn, but actually we just expect a new one, better read one. This is a paradox in European democracy because journalists acting in the public interest not only face intimidation, but actually criminal prosecution, not only for defamation. Despite threats, slaps in many jurisdictions, and constant financial uncertainty, we remain hopeful. Our newsroom is full of young, committed reporters, and really they are a real source of strength. Thank you, BUB, for this recognition. It reminds us that we must never stop reporting, and most importantly, that we're not alone. Finally, we want to dedicate this recognition to all our journalists and staffers, to the over 40 freelancers that write for us from all over in the world, and also to our partners, especially Amphora Media in Malta, the media that was funded by Daphne Caruana Galizia's son, Matthew, that teaches us that resilience and the power of legacy. Last but not least, I care to dedicate this award to all the journalists who are still reporting in Gaza, to the free thinkers, filmmakers, photographers, artists, including my dear friend Wael, who at the other side of our dear Mediterranean Sea are locked in a besieged place, reminding us every day the importance of freedom.